Ask it. Okay, welcome everybody to the Cross Lake March 9th regular council meeting. Let's stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Mr. Chief Lee, do you have an introduction to make here?
I do.
Good.
I would like to introduce you to our newest council member. Wow. See, John, you got me going. Our newest police officer. Adam, would you come on up here? Right out front. You got to get right out front. This is Adam Lane. Adam is originally from Minnesota. He graduated from Alexandria Technical College in law enforcement, and he went to Bismarck, North Dakota for 4.5 years, and we got to get him back here. So Adam brought, well, no, actually he didn't bring his parents. His parents showed up, Kelly and David, is that correct? And his wife, Hannah, they're in the back of the room, the one smiling. If I had known they were going to show up, I would have had Hannah pin the badge on Adam, but
welcome, Adam.
So,
welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, next the approval of the additions to the agenda. Do we have an motion?
So moved. Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Carries. Consent calendar. Does anybody have anything they want to pull out of there? No? Good. Motion to approve the consent calendar.
So moved. Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Public forum. No action will be taken on any of the issues raised. If appropriate, the issues will be placed on the agenda of a future council meeting. Speaker must state their name, address. Each speaker is given 3-minute time limit. Come on up, Cindy.
Hi, Cindy Mugato, Cross Lake Chamber of Commerce. I just want to tell you that we're all ready for the parade this weekend and give a big shout out to Ted and his crew at Public Works, as well as Chip and Eric for working with us this year to really prepare for the parade. Everybody's on board, everybody's on deck, so it should be a really great weekend.
Great.
So,
Awesome.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you.
Anybody else? No?
Yes.
Come on up, Tom.
I have a couple things. I was out of town, so I missed the last meeting. I was looking for the videos on the website, and they weren't on there. I called Shar, and she said, if you go on YouTube and type in City of Cross Lake, you can find them on there, which I did. That was helpful. But what happens is, if I can, I don't know what this thing is. This is what comes up. You had the December 9th of 19 regular meeting, then it was the October 14th meeting, the January 6th meeting, and as it goes down, they're all mixed up. So I did some more Googling around on the computer at what different cities in the area are doing. Emily has it on their website. Pequot has it on their website. Nisswa and 50 Lakes only do audios, but those are available to click on the website. Brainerd uses YouTube, but you can click on there's a site on their website where it'll take you right to it. And this is a copy. When you go to their website and you're looking for meetings, it'll have minutes, media, and you click on the media icon and it'll take you right to the meeting. And those meetings on YouTube are closed captioned. So I went on YouTube for Cross Lake and found a council meeting, and there's an icon that you can click on that to get closed captioning. So the issue of not putting them on the website because of the closed captioning shouldn't be an issue. The only thing I would maybe suggest that you direct staff to do, this is a copy of what you have on the Cross Lake website, where you can click on agendas, minutes, packets. If there could be another column there for media that would take you directly to YouTube, you'd have your meetings on the city website that you can access from the city website, and when you go to YouTube, they have an icon for the closed captioning. So I think that would solve the problem of, we had a $79,000 change order that dealt with the meeting room and security stuff. I couldn't really tell you what's in, what you're getting in that package, but
I don't know if any of us can.
I think if you could just add another column on the city website, and I'm sure probably Josh from Cross Lake Communications could come over here and probably in an hour either do it or train them how to make the link. But that's just my suggestion.
I'll answer that.
Okay.
On our previous website, that's all it was. You clicked a link to YouTube. That's all it was.
Yep.
In municipal code, who did our ordinance, they did our new website. Amin said he does not suggest having that anywhere near our website until they are closed captioned. He said because of ADA compliance, is that right, John? Yes. That he would not recommend having those links on there unless they are closed captioned, which we did request with the new equipment for New City Hall, that they include some way to close caption all the videos. They
So-
haven't come back to us with a quote or what that would
Who
cost.
builds the website? Are you guys doing it now?
It's done.
No, I know, but I mean,
Oh.
who works on it?
Well, municipal code helped us do it.
So the first point of that is being unorganized and bouncing all over the place. That's
Yeah,
just
I don't
a-
know about YouTube. I mean, I don't organize YouTube videos, but
But see, if you did it the way Brainerd is doing, and I also went on,
and I don't know
Bloomington.
if they're ADA compliant. I don't know. I mean, people are just starting to switch to it.
okay.
We're just getting to it, and lawsuits have been going on for how long, John?
Several years, and
Well,
there are people looking for products.
okay. This I got off the League of Minnesota Cities website. It was published February 11th of this year. Website accessibility recommendations for Minnesota cities. It says, try to make the changes that have the most impact now. And then under videos, it has videos and multimedia should have accessible features such as closed. It doesn't say shall have, it says should have. So there's no requirement that it has to be closed caption. I guess what I'm saying is, later on in the meeting, you guys are going to talk about interactive communication with city council members. If a city council member can't appear at a meeting, you're making it available that they can participate. If a citizen can't make a meeting, it's not very user-friendly to just say, go to YouTube and try to find it.
Yeah.
I'm saying there's ways you can put it right on the city website, and I don't know why Brainerd and Bloomington, I would assume they're in the same boat as we are as far as ADA, and they both have it on YouTube, and as soon as you put it on YouTube, then then you get the closed captioning. Otherwise, the flip side of that is if you don't want to do that, then I would suggest somebody figure out what you're getting for your $89,000 change order. There was $20,000 budgeted in the original proposal from High Tech for the AV and the security system. They gave you a credit on that, and you approved a $59,000 change order. Does anyone know for a fact that you can get closed captioning? What are we getting for $89,000 on this change
Well,
order?
I think it's 59. You already accounted for the first part of it.
Okay,
so-
what I'm saying is, the total is $89,000 because there was already $20,000 in the budget. You're adding another $59,000. So it's $79,000 that's going to be spent on AV and security issues. Now, for $89,000, I certainly hope we're going to get closed captioning if that's the case. If that's not the case, then are you going to get another quote and now is the time to deal with this issue, not after you've got it installed and then, okay, now we have to add on to it.
I did kind of ignorantly ask that question, and to Andy Picard and Andy Valesco on the site one time, and they said the equipment in the building is going to be able to do live viewing of it or whatever, as long as the phone company can. And so then I went in and talked to a phone company, and I didn't get an answer. They were looking into it.
But that's different than closed captioning. Closed captioning is when, it's
Right.
writing across the bottom. And that's what I'm saying. For $89,000, I certainly hope the staff or whoever is in charge of reviewing
Somebody should
this.
be plugged into that. Yeah, I don't.
You have a two-part question, if I'm understanding it, Tom. First part is can we get, with our new system at New City Hall?
We requested it.
I know you've requested it, but maybe we need to.
But was it included in the change
should
order?
make sure it's
Or are you
there,
still waiting to get a quote for adding that?
We were.
Dave, do you know?
No, I don't know.
You've been,
No.
But then
And I am
the
not
main
the one to know. Don't put me in charge of that.
secondly, was the organization when it gets to YouTube and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's two separate questions. So why don't we look at trying to get answers for them for next month? Because we don't have an answer tonight.
Yeah, I mean, there should be some sort of presentation from whether it's Andy or whoever on what this system is going to be capable of delivering.
I'd rather it came from his vendor.
Exactly.
Well,
but,
yeah.
That's my preference.
Okay.
But you had a two-part question if I,
Yeah.
okay.
It's either, you could do it similar to Bloomington and Brainerd and put it right on the website where you can click on the meeting date
Get
and
the
it'll
icon.
come up and you've got your closed captioning, or else please make sure that we're getting that with the new system.
Yeah.
And hopefully it's already included.
Well, that we can look into, but that's, obviously, we don't have an answer tonight. So
Yeah.
if we could get that scheduled, then that for the
Yeah,
next meeting. Okay.
I'm kind of hesitating, Aaron, because who is going to look into it? I am not the one to do it because I don't know the questions to ask.
That's what I'm asking
we can
staff
do it
to do.
together, but, you're the point person to
Okay.
go to High Tech,
So
right?
do I get
So-
them to come in here or something? Okay.
And maybe the thing to do is have High Tech, have the vendor come in and explain to the council at a meeting what the system is going to do.
Yeah. I think that is a good idea, and that's what we're asking for, but a two-part answer for next month, Tom.
Yeah.
We don't have it today.
That's fine. And then I had another issue, but, and it has to do with the pay request on the building. I can either talk about it now or I would ask to be able to approach the council before you adopt the pay request.
Why don't you come up when we're talking about it? We'll talk about that. So I got to just comment on that. What prompted us to change the access to the council meetings from the way it used to be to the way it is now? What created that change?
John
The-
will answer that.
Go ahead.
When we, as staff, were working with the MuniCode to do the new website, we were advised by the people that do this for a living that we should not have anything on our website that was not already ADA compliant, because people are going out and looking on these websites, city websites, churches, businesses, and if they're not ADA compliant, then they file lawsuits and they sue directly to those people, and they're paying out hundreds of thousands of dollars because they're not ADA compliant. So we went by the recommendation of the person that does this for a living, who said, don't do it, don't have it there, don't even have a link to it. Because until you can close caption it here and verify that what the information that you're seeing on the screen is what someone's saying, because if you've watched some of the live stuff, like if you're watching a football game and they're doing the closed caption on the bottom, some of the stuff that pops up on there is nothing even close to what the guy said. So they told us, avoid it, don't do it until you have that capability. From what I understand, what we're getting with the new one right now may not have that capability. So that's something that someone has to look into.
Okay.
So,
Let's verify so we at least know what we're headed
yes.
into.
And that was, again, MuniCode guy who does it for a living said, don't do that.
And Mike, if that is the case, then maybe what they have said needs to be directed to Brad to answer, to relieve our concerns at that end, okay?
Yes, Marcia.
Marcia Seibert Volts, Cross Lake. I did try the YouTube Cross Lake Council meeting. It comes up closed caption on YouTube. You just go down there, you hit closed caption, it automatically comes up. It's already there. You just need to put the link on there. And if somebody clicks on, I don't know how they could sue the city of Cross Lake if they click on that link and go to YouTube. It's their fault that they can't click on that little closed caption. It's right down on the right-hand side. And it says, I did it today just to check to see if closed captioning would come up. So if you could just go ahead and do that, because they're not going to see that video unless they go to YouTube. And if you put that link on there, and Brainerd's a good example, they have agenda packets, media, and then they have a couple other columns. And you don't get to see the meeting until you go to YouTube. And there's closed captioning, so I don't know how anybody could sue the city of Cross Lake for closed captioning when it's there.
Well, thank you. I would like
Tested it
to
today.
have,
What?
I would like to have the access as simple as could be.
Well, see, and then you have in Brainerd, they have the meeting minutes, just like it was on the website. It's so easy to find which
Yeah.
meeting you want to see. But if you have to go out and search on YouTube, you don't have that luxury of just, if you don't know the meeting date for sure and stuff.
So is the
You're gonna
closed
make people
captioning
frustrated.
due to it being on YouTube, or will that transfer back to our system?
It goes to YouTube.
We requested from the guy that's doing the video for the new building that we record the meetings and closed captioning is added so that when it goes on our website, you're not going to YouTube, you're not going to an outdoor link. You are going to our website, our videos, and our closed captioning. That's what we requested.
But right now, you could do that link, and it would still comply with
Right
ADA.
now, we were told not to do it. I mean, we're not doing it to be difficult, we're doing it because we were told by MuniCode not to do it.
Well, I'm just saying that it's not that it's not compliant with ADA, because it would be. That's all.
Okay, a couple more months. Anybody else have anything for public forum? Okay, not seeing anybody, we'll close public forum. Next is a resolution accepting donations. We've got a donation of $300 from Nancy Koch that she would like to put toward the adult tennis program in memory of Peggy Stevenson. And I don't know that I know Peggy, but And then another one from the Pal Foundation for $449 for a Roomba vacuum for the library. So I thank you for those donations.
Is that a motion?
We need a motion.
Do we need a motion? Okay.
So moved.
Motion to
Second.
approve. Motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Next, we have a acceptance of a resignation from the Park and Library from Don Christner. Don's not here, but I don't know, how long was he there for? He was there for quite a while, wasn't he? 2 years? Yeah. Okay, so anyway, do we need a motion to accept that too?
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now we got pay number 6 from High Tech. And Tom, you wanted to come up and say something to this?
Got a couple questions on it. Back on February 10th, the council approved 2 change orders, one for $59,000, the other for about $6,500. Those 2 total $65,623.19. On the pay request, if you'll see net changes by change orders, it's marked 0. Down below under change order summary, now those were approved back on February 10th. This is a pay request through February 29th. There's no notice of the $65,000 increase in the contract amount, which puts it now over $3 million. Another thing, and I don't know, because this is a design build, maybe it's different. I never did one of these. Are we not keeping any retainage? Normally on a construction project, there's 10% retainage, and maybe this is a different way of building, but that's another question I would have is, aren't we doing any retainage? And then who's reviewing these? It's got an architect certificate of payment, that's blank. Is WSN supposed to be reviewing the pay request before it comes to the council? Are we just counting on High Tech to turn in a pay request? This is the summary sheet that comes behind that sheet I just had, and these all total the $2,949,000. So even on the summary sheet, it's not showing the $65,000 of additional costs that were approved in the change orders. So I'm not sure who's supposed to be watching this, but on the pay request, I'll just point it out again. Change orders 0, so the contract stays at the same amount when there were $65,000 of additional costs already approved by the council. And then my question is, is the architect supposed to be reviewing the pay request? And lastly, are we not holding any retainage at the end of the project if things aren't good? If there's no retainage, where are we?
So Mike, you questioned the retainage long ago.
I did. And to answer Mr. Swenson's first question, I would expect the change order to show up on the next pay request for that. We can confirm that with Andy. As far as who's looking at the pay request, the arrangement the city made going through Sourcewell and the Gordian process is the contract does not allow for retainage. That's how they do things, was the explanation I got. They were willing to talk about it, but they really weren't willing to adjust it. and it's typically 5%, not 10.
Whatever.
And so what the city's response and the discussion we had with it is, we have no intention of paying the final change order or the final contract until it does meet our satisfaction.
Okay.
So it is kind of odd that change order wasn't here, but if it comes in next time.
Well, these were approved the beginning of February, and this pay request is through the
Yeah,
end
well,
of February, so
I'm
it
kind
should
of
be
getting to know the
included on
Andes pretty good too, and it doesn't surprise me, but it is kind of odd. So, take that as a really good explanation, would you, Tom? No, sorry, I think they just overlooked it. Okay, other than that. So we've got about $1 million left to pay.
About, correct.
And as far as a progress report there, they're going to be putting the gypcrete down on the floor on the 20th. So by the end of March, all the painting will be done and the floor will be flat and they'll be ready for finishes in April.
Do you want to make a motion to approve this?
Yeah.
Or do you want to postpone it to the next meeting where they can answer questions?
Well,
Financially, which way is the normal way for accounting for it is appropriate?
Well, we've already accounted for it, we're just talking about payment.
Okay.
I don't know that we should delay it because of that. We should note it, that's for sure.
I'm not saying to not pay it.
Yeah.
They've got that money covered. I'm just questioning how the pay requests are being handled.
Yeah.
I need a motion.
Okay.
We need a motion to accept.
Do we,
So move to pay.
a motion to approve payment number 6. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Hecox. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, the next is, I want to discuss the acreage behind Andy's, we'll call it down there, south of town, keeps coming up. What are we doing with that, if anything? And so I want to ask for some kind of a committee or something to get together to come back to the council with some options or ideas of what to do with it. I talked to Mike England about it. He was not able to be here. He's done some work with Mr. Anderson on it. Recapping, Mr. Anderson has offered that to the city, but he's got an interest of doing some kind of trails or parking or some community something there. So we got to put a group together to come up with it, and I think, it's still quiet time of year, we should look into it. So I'm going to ask for anybody who wants to get on a committee to look into it. I know Larry Allen is real interested. He was going to try to make it here, but obviously he didn't.
I have a few names already.
Do you? Okay. So I don't think that needs a motion or anything, does it?
I think that's a real good idea, though, because your new city hall and your sewer and things, you did community groups, and those were very successful.
And nobody's got a plan or an idea, but we've got some ideas. Bring it back to the council at a later date. Okay, so that's just a FYI. And then I still have got an issue with our assessment policy, you guys, and I don't know what we're going to do to move it along. I kind of would like to get some kind of group to discuss that, and I know we've already approved an assessment policy, but I don't know that we need to get into that. But
No, just a couple comments on that, Mr. Mayor. One of the benefits of having an independent appraiser that's not tied to the community is that there is an independence factor in coming up with that benefit of opinion. And one of the things cities have struggled with for quite a few years is when you have an assessment of policy, how do you make it fair? And better yet, how do you make it defensible to the city if challenged? And so that's where things have moved into trying to get an independent appraiser. And some of the options we could do to put your mind at ease with the policy is take a step back and say, we had a committee spent a lot of time and put a lot of effort into coming up with a policy that we thought would work. The committee thought would work, the council thought it would work, and now we're going through the applying that policy, and we're coming up with some questions that either weren't anticipated or we're just understanding what they mean. And so with any assessment policy, you will have challenges. I think we have a good policy. I think a lot of good, valuable time and effort went into it. Understanding that we know not everyone's going to like it. And there's a number of options. If you don't like the appraisal on it, we can say we can find another appraiser and see what they come up with. But to say I don't like it or there's holes in it without offering a solution doesn't really move any of us forward with it. So from a staff perspective, what staff are looking for is, we have a policy. Both of our engineering firms agree with the policy, support it. Our attorney has supported it. And the League of Minnesota Cities is saying this is a good way to go. But we're struggling with this application. So we're looking for direction. What would you like to do? We've applied it twice in recent times, once on Daggett Bay Road and then on Wildman Ranch Road, or Drive. And to say, well, we haven't applied it and it doesn't work, we don't know that yet. But what we do know is people don't like being assessed. But we have to find a way to pay the projects. So some of the other things that we can talk about, do you want an assessment policy or not? That's one question. The other question is, if you want one, then let's move forward with what we have and work out the kinks along the way. If you don't want an assessment policy, then we need to take another look at how we budget. Because right now, we're not budgeting enough to pay for the assessed portion of a project. So, and we talked about that a few years ago in our capital planning process, because what we were trying to do at that time was to come up with a plan of relatively short-term debt in cash, combined with some assessments and some growth factor, so that we would have adequate funds to maintain the roads. One of the issues that Ted's department is coming up with is we've got roughly 60 miles of road. So at a 20-year life, roughly, we really should be doing something with a couple, 2-3 miles of road every year. Some years more, some years less. But we need to be consistent with what we do on it so we can continue to maintain what we have today. So with that said, what would you like us to do with an assessment policy?
I am all for an assessment policy. I don't feel like we've done anything to change what first came out of the gate. And what first came out of the gate is probably mostly sewer. But I don't think the road, I think that's fine. There's still some holes in that, and I pointed them out, the 2 acres for half the assessment, whatever, there's some incidentals. But the sewer is a big one, and the SAC charge. So, but what I'd like to do is get a discussion going about it.
Sure.
And I don't see it going to a discussion anywhere. It hits the wall and it stops. And go ahead, Ted, do you want to? But I know everybody's frustrated with it, including myself, and I'd like to figure out a way to move it down the road.
What I originally would like to have done before we even got into it was start with you guys, the commission, Public Works Commission, and the engineers, and sit down and have a workshop. So everybody understands it, everybody can have some input to it. Maybe we can tweak this thing so we can get it taken care of. But that's where I'd like to go with it.
Well, I agree with you. I would just kind of invite a few of the citizens to sit in on it.
I would say no, because it's this body here's got to make these decisions, not the citizens, this body.
Then we got to answer to the citizens, and that's where I.
Well, that's when you apply it. You answer to it or you change it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, whatever we're doing is more than what we're doing right now. So, whatever direction you want to go, I would love to be a part of it and try to move it forward.
But I would support what Ted just suggested. And probably sooner the better, Mike.
Yeah, well, I just don't see it going anywhere. It's just a frustration for all of us continually, so let's, other than that week of the March when I'm gone, but other than that, I can make it any time, so.
Time it when he's back and when Dave is back. Sure.
Okay, I think that's all I have. Mr. Linus, you want to take over?
Thank you. The first item under my area is a draft letter dated February 27, 2020, to Crow Wing County requesting inclusion of CASA 66 improvements within the 2024 County Improvement Program. So what we're talking about is the county's share of estimated project costs for the road right out here between City Hall and the intersection of 16 and 66. And the reason for this is right now the county is going through updating their 5-year road plan, and they intend to use the transit tax, the 1/2% transit tax they generate countywide to put towards this program. And what the county is requesting is they are intending to make those funds available for 2024 funding. And so to do that, we need to formally ask them to put a placeholder in their planning process so that when 2024 comes along, they have those funds identified for their cost participation share in the stormwater and the overlay that they would have done in 2024 in their plan. Without this, we're looking at 2025 for the county purposes.
Is this sufficient?
This is sufficient. I've already shared this with Tim Bray. In fact, Phil Martin and Ted and myself worked on this to try to identify get our best estimate of the cost for those projects under their current cost share policy. So without this, we would be waiting another year to get reimbursed from the county.
So is there any adjustment for dollars worth in 2024 or not, or is this it?
This is our best guess as of today of what those costs will be when that project comes back from bidding, should the city decide to go forward with it in 2021. The short story is the county's not willing to move up the time schedule on that, but they do recognize they have some cost participation in those projects.
So did you just say 2021, to do it in 2021?
The city is currently planning to do the project in 21. We would have to hold those costs until the county, till 2024.
So Mike, you're saying 2024 is the earliest the city would be willing to do something with this letter?
No, we'd do something right now. 2024 is the earliest the county
would be willing
have
to
it in
do
their
something.
plan.
Sorry,
They will reimburse us.
misstated.
So we finance them for that 3-year.
But they won't do 2023 or something. 2024 is the earliest the county would.
As of today, without a plan, no.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Okay. So we need to do this. There's no harm in doing this. It's just asking them to reserve those funds.
So I so move.
So we got a motion by Andrews. Second. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. The next item we have, and Shar and I and others have had a lot of discussion on this, so I'll ask her to participate in this too. We were asked to come up with a basic policy for interactive television at city council and commission meetings. I think all of you have taken a look at that at this point, so what do you think?
Well, the only comment I have is I'd like to see a number 5 in there and no more than twice per year put into the 4 or 5 conditions of it instead of down on the bottom of the page. I'm not sure how that would get recorded or what you do with that.
We'd just move it to number 5 instead of the last paragraph.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it should be part of the requirements, as you call them.
We can try it to see how it goes, and if we need to change it in the future, you can always do that too.
Because all you do is you just pick it up and move it to number 5.
Yeah.
Number 4, or under what is number 4 right now, that one is a mandatory because of people that are on active duty. If somebody should ever get elected to council that's in the military, and that specifically addresses them.
Yeah, and is that really necessary to have in there?
Yeah, I'd say so.
An active military?
Yes.
It's just unusual to see an active anybody up here.
Yeah.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve?
I so move. Motion. I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
With the change that.
With the change.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so the third item is, we talked about this during budget time, and we're looking at upgrading our server, using some of the equipment we have, and then moving the information on the server in City Hall here over to a new server. We were initially planning to do the upgrade last summer. We pushed it out to this year, once we knew we were going to do a new building, and so we delayed it 1 year. And what we're looking at is replace the server, updating our firewall, our subscription service, and then a labor estimate from CTCIT, which currently handles our police, admin, and community center technical consulting. So for City Hall, we're looking at the high end of that cost to be about $13,805 is our best guess today. We'd like to get moving forward with that so that we can have the equipment ready to go and upgraded and operational the minute we walk in the door.
So that's not for this building.
That's
it's
not for this
the new
building, this is for the new one.
Okay.
I just
Also-
request a motion, a first and a
I
second.
second.
Okay, a little more conversation with it, though. We got a motion and a second. How do we know that we don't have any of this included in the package that we have from High Tech, from the,
We don't, none of this is included in the high-tech package.
we know that for
Yes,
sure?
we do.
Okay. Because my only reservation about it is because we don't know what we're getting from them, to know what we're getting.
From
Well-
high-tech,
Yeah,
we know what we're getting from CTC.
so they're not
This
duplicates.
is separate from what they're doing for City Hall.
See, what we did was we had originally budgeted this to do this last summer, or this summer, last summer, I think, because we were due for an upgrade on our server. We delayed it knowing that there was probably a good chance we'd be putting up a new building and it wouldn't make sense to upgrade this one. We just put the new equipment in the new building and transfer this stuff over, so when we move in, it's.
So
ready
we're
to go.
approving this for the new building to go into. So we've got a motion and a second?
The new building's got nothing to do with this.
No, but I mean, that's the time frame of
Yep,
it.
but that's the time frame.
It's going into it in
Yep.
the new building. So we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have unless the council has questions for me.
Okay, Ted?
Mr. Mayor, we have a request from a citizen on Sunrise Boulevard to remove some of the no parking signs that we put up. Just to refresh the council's memory, we had the bunch of the residents next to the boat ramp come in, and the council's action was to add no parking signs both sides of the road from basically Anchor Point down to Sunrise, where it goes up to the bridge. I can't think, I'm going to blank on the name. Anyway, so we've done that. The signs have been there. This gentleman would like the one that's in the center of his yard. There's one on each end of his property, but the one that's on his basically his front yard, he'd like it removed. When he contacted me, I said, well, this was a council action. I don't have the authority. Police chief doesn't have the authority. We did what you told us. You'd have to tell us to remove it or leave it alone.
So is there any way we can put those signs in charge of the neighborhood and have it be a neighborhood watch, and at their discretion, they can put them up?
No.
No?
I don't know how you'd do that. How would you have somebody police themselves?
I find it hard to believe that that'd be legal.
Well, they kind of know when the busy times are, but
Ted, are these signs in the right of way?
They're all in the right of way.
All of a sudden, a neighbor would be having a garage sale, and they put up a no parking sign in front of their house. That's what would start
yeah,
happening.
right.
You couldn't go there at all. But,
What are the issues if one sign were removed?
Just spacing. You're still going to see each sign.
Yeah.
You guys instructed us to put them every 50 feet. We put them every 50 feet.
Gotcha.
So there's one in the center of his lot and one on each end of his lot.
So I would say, I mean, if they're bothering people, they obviously could take them down, and maybe it could be a seasonal thing, where after September 1st, they come down.
As I understand, he's only asking to have one sign
Just have the
removed.
one sign in front of his property removed.
And that will not affect the no parking in,
You'll see them for the whole along the road. I mean, it's very obvious it's no parking. And you can ask the police chief's opinion on it too if you want to, but
no,
I think it's still
I
enforceable
think
from
he'd
what you
get
can
up and
see.
object if he had a problem with it. But I don't care if they're just removing one sign, it is not affecting the coverage that we had wanted. I'm
I went out
okay
and drove
with
it. I don't think it hurts it a bit.
that. They still got no parking in front of their house. Doesn't change it.
Yeah,
So
there's
I
no
s-
parking along the boulevard. It's just, there's no
I-
sign there.
Just
I
make
so
sure.
move.
I'll second.
Okay, we got, and Chief Lee, is there, I mean,
I don't see an issue.
do you want to tell the guys to at least write a warning ticket if somebody kind of try to put the word out that way, or no?
Right now, there's snow there. There's no
No,
place
I
to do-
know, but I mean, as the season comes in.
No, we're straight tickets right now. If you can't see that there's no parking, you're getting a ticket.
Yeah, but we could possibly see one sign removed and then see the neighbor see that, and all of a sudden there could be 10 of them gone. I mean,
Well,
hopefully,
they're not allowed to remove public property, which is the signs, from the road right away.
Yeah.
That's in itself illegal. I mean, we've had the signs stolen before, and if people want to remove the signs and then they have the parking problems, well,
We'd
you
be
know,
back to where we were
we're
last
back to
year.
where we were, exactly.
right. Well,
So, I mean, if we are every 50 feet and this is a 100-foot lot, and there's a sign on each side of the lot, I mean, it's very apparent that, there's no parking. I mean, the common sense dictates, and if...
so are they still parking there with them? I think,
Well, what they've done is they've gone inside the signs. So, down through the ditch, and they park on the other side of the signs. And you can't make this stuff up.
but so what do you do then? Do you ticket them when they do that?
Give them a ticket, yep.
I mean, I think you kind of got to get,
What they're assuming is that they can't park on the road. What they don't understand is they can't park within the road right-of-way, which
Yeah.
includes the ditch.
yeah.
And there have been some education, training with some
Well,
of these people.
Yeah, I wish you would try to kind of train them a little harder or something, but,
Well, we've given them tickets, can't do anything more.
yeah. Well, that's good. That's all you can do.
And there's really about 3 weeks a year that it's
Yeah,
truly
give or take,
problematic.
yeah. I mean, we could look at it and say, no parking this road. Something that's, less
I
signs
agree
would be
with
great.
the signage gets a little obnoxious.
Yep.
So if there's another way that you can handle it, or if you could do it more seasonally or something, or take them down.
And, it's year-round. I'm not going to try to educate people that, all right,
Well, it's no
June
parking.
through September,
There's
there's
no parking for sure
the rest
year-round.
of the year.
I mean, it's no parking whether the signs are there or not, right? The roads are no parking. Isn't there undersigned and you're increasing it?
No, just on one side of the road. The other side of the road, away from the property, they can still park.
Oh, except your signage says you can't.
As long as they're facing the right way.
As long as they're facing the right way, which
That's the
is another
biggest
issue.
Some of them don't.
Right.
I move the one, remove the one, and let's,
So we got a motion. Is that a second? Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
In front of you is a scope of some work for the storm sewer from Bolton and Mink. You have survey services, you have final design and bidding, and you have construction services. It totals about $56,650. And this is an estimate, like I said, but this would be to do the storm sewer from City Hall up to basically Moonlight Bay.
Just the storm sewer.
You've already approved the sewer.
And none of that fell on the back of the sewer putting it in.
No. Well, some of the survey work has been done, but there's still survey work that's going to be outside of those limits to achieve this.
Seems like a lot of money, but how much was the original survey? Do you remember?
No, I don't off the top of my head. The survey is a small part of it. It's only 5,000. It's the design is the biggest part of it. That's 41,100.
Basically, this gets us ready to go for 2021.
Yep.
And is this putting a holding pond in that lot that we're?
All that will be in the design and see what's
Hopefully.
feasible,
I
and
think
that's
Phil said that
that's
it
what
would
we're
work.
trying for. So
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, well,
Also move.
I'll second it.
we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
the last part I have here is the computer in my office is going on 10 years old, and the CDR ROM drive doesn't work anymore, and it's giving me issues. Keeps telling me warnings that it's nothing's supported anymore. And TJ happens to be going after some computers for down at the park, so I asked him to get a quote at the same time, economy of scale. So I'd like to replace it. I have about $25,000 in my incidentals for capital, and I would use that money to replace the computer, if that's okay.
Yep, I would say.
I think that's a good idea, especially if you've got one that's 10 years old, my word.
I'm glad you got 10 years out of it.
So I would so move. And I'll second it.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, you asked me a question about Perkins Road.
Yeah.
And I asked Dave just to come up and give a very brief what's going on.
Good. Come on up, Dave.
Thanks. The update on Perkins Road. So the design, for the most part, has been completed with just some details down at the very end that we're trying to iron out and get a final easement signed with a property owner there. Today we received a phone call from the Corps that the plans to their satisfaction are approved, and we'll be getting a formal letter to that effect, so that's good. Also, we've gotten a few comments from the county. The plans were sent to them for the entrance onto County 103, and so we'll incorporate those minor changes into the plans. And so I think we're optimistic that we can get this advertised here in the next week or two, pending this final easement. So that would put us out to, we'd advertise for 3 weeks and probably look at a bid opening the second or third week in April.
Is the easement down beyond the corners there? Or
It's
no, right at the
down,
corner?
right down at the bottom where we get back into the alignment of Perkins Road where it sits today. So right at the end.
Is it a willing neighbor?
He's willing to work on it, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, okay,
Okay.
good, thank you.
With that, Council, I have nothing else unless you have something for me. Thank you.
I'm good, Ted, thank you.
Thanks, Ted.
All right, TJ.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. As Ted previously mentioned, I'm looking to replace computers in our community center front office and library computer workstations down in the library. We have money earmarked in the budget to replace all the equipment. So staff is requesting to approve the quote provided by Dell to upgrade the computer workstations in both the community center office and library. And in comparison to Ted's equipment, the patron computers down in the library are 10 years old. So they're due.
And how many new ones you putting in, 3?
4.
Four
So
new
we're going from 7 down to 4. We're seeing a lot less activity. We're still seeing our regulars, 2-3 people a day, but there's no need to go back to the 7.
Are you still going to use some of the older ones and maintain the 7 work areas, or no?
We're going to leave the old ones empty, the old spots empty. We're going to put privacy panels there so people, when they want to come in and work on a laptop or work on a essay or a paper, they have that space for them.
That's a good idea.
And Jane is in agreement with this. I worked with her throughout this whole process, so.
I'll move to approve.
Okay, we got a motion.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, TJ. Okay, we got another public forum. No action will be taken on any of the issues raised. If appropriate, the issue will be placed on the agenda of a future council meeting. Do I have to read this every time? Yep. Speaker must state their name and address. Each speaker is given 3-minute time limit. Come on up, Tom.
It's me again. I'm just going to sort of ramble here. You've adopted your new policy on communicating off-site. I guess I'm speaking as a member of that building committee on the City Hall project. I hope we're all on schedule on that, the plan is for the City Hall and police to move over there this spring. The one thing, and I'm sure you all know it, but the meeting on the 24th, Dave's not going to be here, and the other Dave is out of town. It's going to take a 4/5 vote.
He's calling in.
Okay.
He's
So, I mean,
whatever you call it.
your system is going to be, that's the test for it. But if that motion doesn't pass by a 4-1 or a 4/5 vote, the sewer won't go in, and therefore the project, a $3 million project, you won't be able to
Inhabit.
you won't be able to go into the building. And I think High Tech is trying to schedule things so that, the sewer can be done in April when they're trying to finish up the project. And so I'm just sort of raising the alert that it's really important that motion gets the 4/5 vote, because, you're already down one person. And if that doesn't pass and City Hall doesn't move over there, they stay here, that affects the timing for the projects that's supposed to be remodeling here. It's going to set everything back. So I'm sort of on a soapbox, but I hope that motion passes.
The high-tech schedule for us getting into the City Hall is to have the June meeting in the new City Hall. So they're fully anticipating being able to do that. Assuming we got a porta potty set up out in the yard.
Jerome Volts, Cross Lake. If we're going to Skype the meetings, do they have to leave their address and their phone numbers and stuff so we can get a hold of our councilmen that we elected that are down in Florida getting paid for doing nothing? If we want to talk to one of you, we can get a hold of you. Who can get a hold of Dave other than?
His phone number is on the website.
Okay.
It's a cell phone.
He's also available by the city's email account too, council.schrupp@crosslake.net.
Okay, as long as they respond.
Actually, Dave's listening in tonight.
Okay.
As you speak.
Good, then he'll know what I said.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jerry. Okay, any other public forum? City attorney is not here. New business? Old business?
I move to adjourn.
Aaron moves to adjourn. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.